frustration for travelers.
I want them to find me a flight.
Amid cancellations in Ottawa as the Air Canada strike continues despite federal government intervention. Why was this supervised consumption site at Somerset really closed? New data suggests pointing the finger at rising crime might be misleading. And be careful where you butt out.
Every year, it's one of the top 2 preventable causes of a fire in Ottawa.
A reminder about the careless disposal of cigarettes after more than one incident of a toss from a moving vehicle starting a dangerous blaze. Good evening. We begin tonight with chaos and confusion for Air Canada travelers across the country. Flight attendants remain on the picket lines tonight in staunch defiance of the federal government's back-to-work order, forcing the airline to keep all planes grounded until at least tomorrow afternoon.
It's very, very disappointing from our perspective, especially when it's unlawful, and the impact to our customers. I mean, obviously, people want to go someplace, business meetings. We move cargo, so we do a lot of things for the Canadian economy, and let alone have move people to their vacations and seeing their loved ones. This has been devastating for our customers.
The airline canceling between 500 and 600 flights today, leaving hundreds of thousands of passengers in the lurch, some stranded abroad. As of right now, Air Canada has suspended all flights up until 4 p.m. tomorrow. Both Air Canada's CEO and the Federal Industrial Relations Board have declared the strike illegal, but the union does not appear to be backing down.
We're going to stay strong. We're going to stay committed to making sure that those workers can do the job that they love doing and actually be able to afford a roof over their heads, to afford caring for their families. And if it means folks like me going to jail, then so be it.
It's now unclear exactly where things go from here as we wait to hear more from Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu, who ordered an end to the strike on Saturday, asking the two sides to go to binding arbitration. CTV's Josh Morano joins us live in studio with more on how all of this is impacting passengers at the Ottawa airport. Josh.
Yeah, Patricia, there is definitely frustration as the strike enters its 3rd day, but no one seemed too mad today. Travelers showing up to reschedule or cancel flights, and with no end to the strike in sight, travelers are still looking for answers.
It's been a bit of a nightmare. I've been here 3 days.
For Chris Fawcett, getting his family a flight back home to Japan has been more difficult than expected.
It's just very frustrating because we think we have something and then the seats disappear on another airline. I try another thing and another thing, and what about this route? And it's just really hard.
Fawcett says he's been talking to Air Canada staff at the airport for days after his children's trip was canceled on Saturday.
My kids are like kind of panicking because they have like homework and tests and next week, so yeah, I got to get them back.
They're not alone. Hundreds of Air Canada flights canceled, leaving passengers looking for alternatives.
I didn't receive any confirmation that my flight was canceled, so I tried to, like all of us, try to find a solution to fly tomorrow.
It's been tough, and now I'm going back home with a different airline.
Meanwhile, outside, the flight attendant strike continues as the union says they will stand firm until their demands are met, even though the government has delivered a back-to-work mandate.
If we have to be here for a week, if we have to be here for a month, I don't think that Air Canada will want us that long out here. It's quite obvious that it's hurting them financially, which hurts us financially as well.
The whole thing is really sad. I saw that Air Canada had made record profits last year. So it's a little bit disappointing to see how it's unfolding.
Sandra McIntosh asking for accountability from the airline after her daughter's flight to Australia was canceled. She says they booked with another airline, and for 4 tickets, it was $11,000.
They're just praying that all of that gets sorted, like they do whatever Air Canada refunds them, that the travel insurance will cover the rest. So there's a lot of unknowns financially.
And after spending days at the Air Canada desk, Fawcett has a new flight booked in 2 weeks, but is hoping to find something sooner.
I don't blame the flight attendants. I hope they get what they want. All for that. It's just, our trip is kind of gone down.
Now, other passengers I spoke with today say the Air Canada staff have been patient and helpful in trying to find them new flights. But again, with no answers as of now, they're forced to check out other airlines. Patricia.
And yet still quite a bit of empathy for the flight attendants. It's interesting to watch this unfold. Josh, thank you very much. CTV's Josh Morano reporting for us tonight. Stay with CTV News for continuing coverage of the Air Canada strike. For updates on radio, tune into News Talk 580 CFRA and CTV News channel at any hour. Well, turning now to Hawkesbury, a massive fire causing significant damage to a condo development under construction, prompting the emergency evacuation of residents in the area. The fire broke out around 10 a.m. this morning on Nelson Street East. CTV's Camille Wilson was on the scene earlier, back now to tell us what she saw. Camille.
Patricia, multiple called 911 this morning, reporting large flames and thick smoke coming from the development site. When firefighters arrived on scene, they found the 3-story condo construction site in flames. The fire then spread to neighboring houses behind the development. They were significantly damaged. It's not clear how many people were displaced, but residents I spoke to at the scene described seeing flames and hearing a loud bang.
I could see all the construction, and it was burning, very heavy smoke coming out.
I saw a big flame when I was on the bridge. I was coming down from Grenville, and I saw some smoke, and then I saw a big flame, poof, right up in the air, a big boom, and there's some piece everywhere around.
I saw the apartment caught on fire.
Nearby homes were evacuated. One man said he heard the construction workers yelling and he knew it was something serious. Another woman said her neighbor was outside and a flying spark put a burn hole in his shirt, giving him a small blister, but no other serious injuries have been reported. The workers were on the site at the time of the blaze. There's no word yet on the cause of fire, but Ontario Provincial Police say it's not considered to be suspicious. Patricia.
All right, CTV's Camille Wilson live for us tonight. Thank you. When the Ford government announced the closure of 10 supervised consumption sites across the province, including 2 here in Ottawa last year, the health minister pointed to rising crime as one of the reasons. But new numbers obtained by CTV News show a different story. One of the sites forced to close was at the Somerset West Community Health Centre on Eccles Street. CTV's Caitlin Wilson joins us live now with more on this. Caitlin.
Patricia, the province argued that crime was climbing around the Somerset West site, but Ottawa police data shows the opposite. And residents in the area say the biggest change since the closure is what they see on the streets every day.
In this Chinatown neighborhood, residents say drug use is everywhere and more visible after Somerset West Community Health Centre closed its safe consumption site in March.
The landscape of the neighborhood has changed because now these folks are kind of dispersed everywhere. They don't have like one place to go to be able to address their needs.
The province ordered the closure as part of its plan to shut down supervised consumption sites within 200 meters of schools and childcare centres, saying crime in the area was climbing significantly.
Residents near Ottawa sites are concerned about the drug-related crimes in their community. Violent crime was up 146% near Ottawa's Somerset site.
At the time, the province also said overall crime near the location was 250% higher than the rest of the city. But new numbers obtained by CTV News through a Freedom of Information request tell a different story, showing violent crime in the area was down 23% year over year, and overall crime just 14% higher than the city average.
When it comes to violent crime, most of that is not the sort of crime that people who use a CTS are engaged and involved in. So it surprised me that it was looking like it was so high, or that it was being attributed to this.
CTV News reached out to Ontario's Ministry of Health for comment, including where it got the data used to justify the closure, but did not hear back by deadline.
This is a public health emergency, and we need to be following the best evidence of what works.
In April, the site transitioned into a homelessness and addiction recovery treatment center known as a Heart Hub, offering food, showers, and social supports. But Councillor Ariel Troster says it's not the same as safe consumption, paving the way for new problems.
They were also forced to stop doing needle exchange and also to stop their safe supply program. And since then, we've also seen an explosion of private addiction clinics that are prescribing narcotics with no accountability to the community.
And there's at least one private consumption site in the area, and residents I spoke with say they want to see more transparency and oversight to ensure these clinics are accountable to the community and not just shifting the problem into public spaces. Patricia.
CTV's Caitlin Wilson live for us tonight. Thank you. Still ahead, raising the pride flag in Ottawa after a year in which the festival was marked by controversy. More people again uniting behind the rainbow. That story coming up. And here's a live look through our Centennial Glass sky cam. A little cooler this evening than what we were seeing last week. 21 degrees out there right now. It was a crisp, sunny, beautiful day out there. A bit of a breeze as well. Really nice break from the humidity for those who do not enjoy it.
I know, I mean, you said it yourself, right? Much drier, cooler than what we saw last week. And the thing is that we have fall-like conditions that is making its way here into eastern Ontario. So if you like you're having your windows open at night, then this week is just for you. Right now, as we did mention, across the region, really temperatures sitting between 19 and 20 degrees. No humidity in sight as we get into late evening tonight. Overnight lows at cool at 10 degrees. Clear conditions with southeasterly winds making its way here into the capital with a daytime high of 23 degrees. We've got a mix of sun and clouds, so still no precipitation in sight. But hey, maybe by midweek we could see some rain entering into eastern Ontario. We will have those details in just a bit. Patricia.
Thank you, Jackie. Well, as tinder dry conditions persist out there, a renewed warning tonight about where you flick your cigarette butts. Ottawa fire officials say improperly discarded smoking materials are the cause of a Finley Creek blaze that displaced 8 people last week, and it's part of a bigger worrying trend. The fire happened in the 400 block of Cache Bay Crescent last Wednesday. CTV's Katie Griffin is here with more. Katie.
Patricia, so far this year there have been 50 fires in Ottawa where the cause was deemed to be improperly discarded smoking materials, and officials say they were preventable.
The damage? Devastating, and fire officials say it was preventable.
After our fire investigation, it was concluded that it was improperly discarded smoking materials.
8 people were displaced after this fire in Finley Creek last week.
The fire started on the exterior and spread, to the vinyl siding, and that vinyl siding's like liquid gasoline. Just goes up the house, into the windows, breaches the windows, and then it spreads into the house.
The blaze spread to both the attached unit and the one beside. One person had to be rescued. 2 firefighters suffered heat exhaustion.
Especially under these conditions where it's hot, everything's dry, make sure your cigarette is properly put out. And I don't mean a couple of taps and then you throw it to the ground. Put it in a can of water, put it in an ashtray properly.
So far in Ottawa this year, there have been 50 fires caused by improperly discarded smoking materials, including cigarette butts.
Every year, it's one of the top 2 preventable causes of a fire in Ottawa, along with unattended cooking.
Fire crews in Quinte West have also doused several grass fires along Highway 401 caused by people tossing cigarettes from vehicles. It's happening in the Ottawa area too.
We have had several small grass fires started on the 416. I would highly recommend to people to not flick their cigarettes out the window. It's also considered littering, so if you are seen, it's a $110 ticket.
Even with cooler temperatures, we really haven't seen significant rain. A fire ban remains in effect. Patricia.
All right, CTV's Katie Griffin live for us tonight. Thank you. Ottawa police are asking for help identifying a suspect allegedly involved in a credit card theft. Police say the victim believes his credit card was stolen from his locker at the Richcraft Recreation Complex on Innovation Drive around 4 p.m. on July 25th. Police have released this photo that reportedly shows the suspect using the credit card at a business on Caldwell Avenue near Medford Street the next day. Ontario's police watchdog is investigating after an anti-riot weapon was used against a man in Gananoque last week. Officers were called to the area of 2nd Street and Victoria Avenue Friday afternoon after reports of a disturbance. The Special Investigations Unit says a man barricaded himself inside a home when police arrived and was armed with edged weapons. Hours later, officers entered the home and 2 fired their anti-riot weapons. The man was brought to hospital for treatment. An Ottawa woman who is visually impaired is speaking out, saying Uber repeatedly denies her rides because of her service dog. Salome Solomon says her dog helps her navigate the city safely, but she says when she's calling an Uber, she often gets denied 4 or 5 times before a driver accepts her ride, which has caused her to miss medical appointments, be left stranded, and sometimes even forced to leave her dog at home.
Every time I'm denied access, it's like a dagger in the heart, to be honest. It's like a reminder that, like, you're not normal, like, you're not one of us.
In a statement to CTV News, Uber says discrimination of any kind is unacceptable on its platform, writing in a statement, if a rider is inappropriately denied a ride, they should immediately report the issue so they can take appropriate action. Well, Premier Doug Ford was in the Capitol today announcing new funding to help build new homes and meeting with municipal leaders from across the province. And while the money is being welcomed by city councillors, some are hoping for progress on other key priorities. CTV's Austin Lee joins us live in studio for more on this. Austin.
Yeah, Patricia, the Premier's speech at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario conference, it focused primarily on the trade war with the United States and Donald Trump's tariffs. And with those economic threats in mind, Ford is focused on infrastructure investment, injecting new funds into the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program.
Our province will continue investing in infrastructure and do everything we can to get shovels in the ground.
The province is injecting an additional $1.6 billion into the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program, a move that is being welcomed by local councillors.
We do have a housing crisis. You hear about it all through the convention. Every municipality in Ontario has a problem across the country as well. But to be able to inject that kind of money into housing now is critical if we want to get those housing numbers up.
The latest investment brings the fund to $4 billion, available to municipalities for things like roads and bridges, as well as water and wastewater systems to accommodate growing communities. At least one Ottawa councillor says while he's happy to see the funding boost, he wants the province to go a step further.
The province is moving a bit on regulatory measures to help get that going faster, but we have to move even quicker.
Aside from housing, some were hoping to see an update on a major campaign promise made by Premier Doug Ford.
I would like to have heard a little more about what's going on with the transit file for Ottawa. As you know, during the campaign, they talked about uploading parts of that. We're looking for more detail on that and some timelines, right?
Ford promised to upload the O train to the province, a move that could save the city $4 billion over 30 years. But since that campaign pledge, there's been little movement.
In my end of town, transit is an issue. Like the ridership is dropping because of the changes that have been made to the system, and we need to reverse it.
Another issue on the agenda for at least one city councillor, reviving the conversation of building a ring road in the city.
We see 7 days a week of traffic now in our city. We have a population over 1.2 million people, and we have to have an alternative route around this city.
Tim Tierney adds construction of a ring road will take a long time, and he's hoping to get the ball rolling sooner rather than later.
I'm hoping that during these discussions, we'll get it back on the table and not have to wait 2 or 3 years to start planning for that ring road.
Now, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario conference, it's at the Rogers Centre, and it wraps up Wednesday afternoon. Some of the other issues up for discussion over the 4-day event: calls to bring back municipal property assessments, growing energy demands here in Ontario, and toxic political discourse. Patricia.
CTV's Austin Lee live for us tonight. Well, Pierre Poilievre should be learning his political fate this evening. The Conservative leader needs to win today's by-election in Alberta to get back into the House of Commons. And while it is certainly considered a safe seat, so was the one he lost in Carleton earlier this year. CTV's Stephen Keys joins us live with more. Steph.
Patricia, for Pierre Poilievre, some analysts say it could be a do-or-die situation when it comes to saving his political career. There are some that say he doesn't just need to win to get back in the House. He also needs that win to be decisive in order to stay on as leader of his party. But for the most part, he is expected to take the sprawling rural riding of Battle River Crowfoot. However, he will still have to prove himself to some in that riding. He is being accused of parachuting in for his own political aspirations, and there are residents that believe he could be out of touch with their agricultural roots and concerns. What is working in his favor, though, is how much attention he has gotten on the national stage as leader during the convoy and the last election. It means he is a household name, and for those wearing political stripes that are conservative, they already feel that they know what they're getting.
I don't think he'll do anything for us because he'll just be another puppet.
I think he's perfect to represent this riding.
He's going back to Ottawa or Ontario and staying there. He doesn't care about us.
The by-election was called when the Conservative candidate who won in the spring election, Damien Couric, stepped down, allowing Poilievre to run instead. There are more than 200 names in the running, the vast majority of whom are part of a protest group calling for electoral reform. In response, a special write-in ballot has been created rather than a massive list of names to check off. Now, we will be watching closely to see what happens tonight. Polls are still open in Alberta, which is a few hours behind us, time zone-wise. Patricia.
CTV's Stefan Keys live for us tonight. Thank you. And we will have extended coverage of those by-election results on our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca. Well, some of the most powerful leaders in the world are at the White House tonight, currently meeting with the U.S. president about peace for Ukraine. Tonight's talks come after President Zelensky's high-stakes meeting with Donald Trump this afternoon. CTV's Judy Trin has more.
The Ukrainian president arrived at the White House dressed in a black suit instead of his usual military uniform. Donald Trump took notice.
First of all, Mr. President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Vladimir Zelensky also made sure he voiced his appreciation for the president's effort to end Russia's war on Ukraine.
Thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war.
But the devil is in the details, and Zelensky wants to make sure the plan Trump discussed with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska will respect Ukraine's sovereignty. Speaking with reporters, Trump said a deal can be worked out without a ceasefire.
We can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other.
On social media, Trump said on Sunday that Zelensky can end the war if it gives up Crimea and membership in NATO. Russia took over Crimea in 2014, and after 3.5 years of war, it controls almost all of the Donbas region in southeast Ukraine. Putin wants Ukraine to give up territory as a condition for peace.
When we talk about security, we're talking about the security not just of Ukraine, we're talking about the security of Europe.
To prevent Ukraine's interests from being subverted in a deal brokered by the U.S. and Russia, 7 European leaders from Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, the European Union, and NATO's Secretary General traveled to Washington to stand with Zelensky to warn against trusting Putin and fight for security guarantees.
We're going to try and get a 3-party meeting, maybe as soon as we can.
Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Thank you for building community. Thank you for spreading love.
Well, better start to Capital Pride this year after the festival found itself mired in controversy last year. That story coming up. Jackie.
Thanks, Patricia. Well, we saw some showers yesterday, but for the most part, it's been a rain-free month for Ottawa. So far, the city has seen about 12 millimeters of rain in August, and it's expected the dry spell to continue well into tomorrow for Eastern Ontario. Let's take a live look at our Centennial Glass Sky Cam, where it's 21 degrees, a mostly cloudy evening, looking out towards Kaweki Point, and a reminder the sun's setting just after 8 o'clock.
CTV Ottawa is your home for local news.
Katie Griffin, CTV News in the Byward Market.
Centertown.
Canada.
Stittsville.
Bringing you local stories that matter the most to you.
Kimberly Fowler in Westboro.
Orleans. Barhaven.
From every corner of the community.
In the Glebe.
Manotick.
Merrickville.
Brockville.
From the team you trust, we are CTV News Ottawa.
Live, local, breaking news. CTV News Ottawa.
Well, taking a look at the roads on your Monday, not terrible in the way of traffic and slowdowns. A few in the usual spots, but for the most part, moving well on the Queensway tonight. Well, Capital Pride Week is officially underway, and there's less controversy than over last year's edition. In 2024, Capital Pride issued a pro-Palestinian statement, prompting some participants to pull out of the parade. CTV's Kimberly Johnson has that story.
The flag is up as Capital Pride Week begins in Ottawa, a celebration of the 2S LGBTQ+ community.
We're going to have one of the biggest Pride parades again that the city has ever seen. We're really excited.
The Pride Parade is set for Sunday. Last year, the event faced controversy after the Capital Pride Board released a statement in solidarity with Palestinians amid the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. A number of groups pulled out of the parade. Capital Pride's executive director, Callie Melter, says this year will be going ahead with returning members.
We have over 165 groups joining us for this year. The numbers are all looking, equivalent to 22 numbers, 23 numbers, 24 numbers.
Last year, the city had a float, but most councillors and the mayor were not in attendance. This year, the pro-Palestinian statement has been removed from Capital Pride's website. Councillor Ariel Troster says that it's important to come together.
Our identities are intersectional, and that when we fight for queer and trans rights, we're also fighting against genocide, against war, against anti-Semitism, against all forms of racism.
There were some protesters at the event.
Capital Pride Festival Week in Ottawa.
The mayor will participate this year on Monday, officially launching the week.
Thank you for building community. Thank you for spreading love. Thank you for creating a village where truly everyone belongs.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
Well, after last week's heat wave, things have cooled down significantly in the capital. Temperatures dropped to around 10 degrees overnight. Not too cool for this dog, who decided to take a dip in the Rideau River at Brantwood Park. Things warmed back up this afternoon. A beautiful sunny day in the capital. Ooh, that's picture perfect. Makes you want to jump in a canoe or a kayak and get out on the water. Jackie.
Absolutely. And then when we're seeing that summer feels like it's coming to an end, you want to cross off as many summer bucket list items as possible.
Like all these people you were supposed to get together with and things you were supposed to do, and how is it almost the end of summer?
Yeah, so take advantage. I mean, is it going to be warm like we saw yesterday or last week, I should say? Not so much. We have fall-like conditions making its way in, but if you really do look at it, we are expecting now more seasonal temperatures. Right now here in Ottawa, we are sitting at 21 degrees. Yeah, mostly cloudy conditions, but the sun will be coming out to play for the next couple of days. A closer look now at the next 24 hours, partly cloudy for this evening once the sun sets, a cool 17 degrees. And then you will maybe want to bring a light jacket when you head out. 13 degrees at 7 a.m. is what we're starting with, only getting to a daytime high about 23 degrees. And we are getting a break from that humidity and heat we saw last week, so temperatures are going to remain cool. When I talk about cool, look at tonight's lows. Really, some parts of eastern Ontario sitting at single-digit overnight lows between 8 and 9 degrees for Pembroke and Petawawa, sitting closer to about 10, 11 degrees as we make our way towards Montreal. 15 in Montreal, so things are still a little bit warmer out east. But as we look to tomorrow's highs, temperatures sitting around back to seasonal low 20s, 23 here in Ottawa, Cornwall, as well as Brockville. But then we look to the valleys sitting around 21, 22 degrees. We talked about the conditions really across the country. We've had a lot of heat waves going on the last 3 weeks, not just here for eastern Ontario, but really for most of the eastern part of Canada. Fredericton, Charlottetown sitting at 16, 14 degrees, so much cooler in terms of temperatures. Here we're sitting in the high teens for Ontario. It's really the hottest part of the country right now, sitting in Regina, Saskatchewan, 30 degrees. They have a heat warning in place until midweek, where temperatures could see between humidex values between 30 and 40, but still cool out in Vancouver with about 23 degrees is a daytime high. Now, when we talk about dry conditions, we might see some precipitation come in late Tuesday into our Wednesday overnight, but that's really going to be sticking around the seaway. So Kingston, Brockville, expect some precipitation, but it's going to continue into the southern parts and well into the states. So we might not see much in terms of precipitation for the Valley or Ottawa, maybe seeing some isolated showers, but for the most part, it's going to be dry conditions for well into the work week. Now, today's weather is brought to you by Davidson Hearing Aids, celebrating over 80 years in family business. Now, as we look to Tuesday into Wednesday, slight chance we could see some showers or separate isolated showers. 21 the daytime high for our Wednesday, and then things are going to trend to the warmer temperatures for Thursday, Friday, and well into our Saturday, with temperatures averaging between 27 and 28 degrees. The good news is that the evenings are going to be nice and cool, just how we like it, especially if you didn't have that fan or that AC for the heat wave that we've had the last couple of weeks. It'll be nice to keep that window open and get some fresh air in for this week.
And a little bit of extra warmth for the Red Blacks and the Atletico.
Just slightly, but I would say bring the jacket.
Yeah, I always do. Thanks, Jackie. Well, just ahead, why Ottawa's beach season will soon come to an end, despite efforts to extend it until later in the summer.
CTV News community and weather anchor Jackie Perez. Weeknights
Well, now some stories you need to know right now. We're only halfway through August, but Ottawa's beach season is almost over. CTV's Steph Keys joins us now with the details on this and other stories. Steph.
Patricia, the days of supervised swimming at city beaches are numbered, and while there were attempts to extend that season, staff say that's no longer doable. Yes, Sunday will be the final day of the summer that lifeguards will be on duty. The 2025 budget included funding to extend the beach season into Labor Day, but the city says there were not enough lifeguards available. Outdoor pools will gradually start shutting down over the next month. Most wading pools are shut down. The rest will close for the season on Sunday. The number of new homes being built in Ottawa has significantly increased this year. New data shows there were more than 6,300 housing starts between January and July. That is 68% higher than the same time last year. Nationally, housing starts were only up 4%. Transit riders will like this update. Regular LRT services back on track after a weekend of disruptions. Scheduled work Online One shut down service between Herdman and Blair stations Saturday and Sunday. But on top of that, there were some unexpected issues. A power outage disrupted trains Friday evening, and yesterday there was a problem with a switch mechanism that shut down part of Line 1. 12 more beer store locations across the province are set to shut down later this year, including one in Eastern Ontario. The store on Highway 60 in Eganville will close October 19th. This is the latest round of closures since the province expanded alcohol sales to convenience and grocery stores.
Michael Wood is on a mission.
Ottawa's Michael Woods is shifting gears, announcing he's retiring from professional cycling. Woods making the announcement today, saying he feels incredibly lucky to have raced in some of the biggest events in the world, like the Olympics and the Tour de France. But he says the past 11 years have taken a toll on his health and his family. He will officially retire at the end of this cycling season in October, but Woods says his athletic journey isn't over just yet. He says he's exploring some endurance sports and will have more to share in the future. So very exciting to learn what's on the horizon for Michael Woods, Patricia.
We have that little Ironman that happens here.
That's right, and there's one happening next year too, or the year after that.
Yeah. I mean, that schedule, just a terrible grind. Has a couple of little kids. Maybe needs to be home to teach them how to ride the bike.
Right, let them take over, pass it on.
And then she ran up to my vehicle and started kicking it.
Well, just ahead, what happens if someone vandalizes your vehicle? Who is responsible to pay the deductible? We explain after the break.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, CTV Morning Live, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Ottawa playing host this weekend to the second edition of the Masters Indigenous Games, the event at TD Place, giving athletes from across the world a chance to compete at the highest level while celebrating Indigenous culture and heritage. Well, drivers in Ontario are legally required to have liability coverage as part of their auto insurance, and most pay extra for collision and comprehensive coverage. But if your vehicle is vandalized, who is on the hook to pay that deductible? Here's CTV's Pat Foran.
Randomly, someone just attacks your vehicle.
Rana Mashoud of Scarborough says he was returning home after a night out with friends when he was stopped at a red light. That's when a woman, without warning, started kicking the front of his vehicle.
She made a hand gesture, like as if she was pointing a gun. And then she ran up to my vehicle and started kicking it.
Mashoud says in a matter of seconds, his car was extremely damaged.
My whole front bumper, my grill is broken, my camera is broken. I have my sensors that are damaged. One of my headlights is gone.
He called the police and the woman was arrested, but he was upset to find out he would have to pay the $500 deductible, even though he feels he did nothing wrong.
You're the one who has to pay your own deductible because this is not another vehicle that hit you. It was a pedestrian.
Michoud is insured with Allstate, and a spokesperson told CTV News deductibles are a standard component of many auto insurance policies, and that where possible, Allstate will pursue recovery from the responsible party and reimburse the customer's deductible if successful.
It is very standard in every auto insurance policy where you have optional physical damage coverage that there is a deductible.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says while Michoud will have to pay the deductible, they can try to get the person to reimburse him by going to court.
There is the potential of the driver taking the offender to small claims court to recoup their deductible.
Michoud says he feels it's unfair that a person can vandalize his car and not have to pay to repair it.
As just an innocent person, it doesn't make any sense to not only have my vehicle damaged, but at the same time be liable for a deductible.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Returning now to our top story, as the Air Canada strike continues, the number of flight cancellations continues to grow, and so does the cost of the work stoppage. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez has more on that and the day's other business headlines.
Analysts are crunching the numbers and estimate the strike could cost Air Canada $200 million, even if the action ends this week. That estimate coming from Canaccord Genuity. The strike has led Air Canada to suspend its financial forecast for 2025. The company had predicted it would make between $3.2 and $3.6 billion in 2025. Now, shares in Air Canada dropped today by almost 3%. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is slightly up today to 72.44. West Texas Intermediate moved up to 63.42. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it down to 50.33. And not a lot of movement on the TSX. It dropped 17 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Well, just ahead, we introduce you to the man running across Canada with a goal of raising $1 million for mental health. A celebration of Greek culture this weekend at the 50th anniversary of Ottawa Greek Fest. The event features Greek food, Zorba dancing, and live music. The festival continues at the Hellenic Events Centre next weekend. A BC man is running across the country doing an ultra marathon, or 50 kilometers a day, with the goal of raising $1 million for mental health services. And over the weekend, he made a stop here in Ottawa. CTV's Kimberly Johnson literally caught up with him.
Sachin Laddie says running saved his life.
I was struggling a great deal about 5 years ago with my mental health. Ended up having a major depressive episode, so it all kind of came to a head.
The former border service agent from BC says by running, he was able to find purpose.
Running for me is community connection and movement. So I'm moving, I get to connect with people, and I get to create a community around me.
Now he's running across the country, aiming to raise awareness and $1 million for mental health initiatives. The journey from BC to Newfoundland is done by running an ultra marathon a day. That's 50 kilometers every day.
I think the mental health crisis that Canadians are feeling right now is an existential crisis. So I think it's extremely important that we talk about it, that we do something about it, and that we engage community with it.
According to Statistics Canada, nearly 1 in 5 people over the age of 15 experience mental health issues.
Getting them to be active helps them with school, helps them with relationship.
On Sunday, Laddie was joined by youth and members of the Ottawa Police Service running 5 kilometers in the nation's capital. Randy Gill is with Their Opportunity. It's one of the charities Laddie is raising money for, which creates programs for underserviced youth to join athletic programs.
It's important for us to get the word out how important physical health and well-being is as much as mental health and well-being. It's connected.
Ottawa Police Deputy Chief Paul Burnett says this advocacy work is vital for first responders.
We're running towards danger when others are running away. So managing that on a daily basis can be a struggle for our members.
63 days in, the journey leaving an impression.
It's truly inspiring.
To be honest, I could never do that, but to have somebody who cares so much about others' mental health, it's great to see.
The entire journey is expected to take more than 80 days.
People are struggling every single day. This is super important, and we're not stopping.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
Well, coming up, just weeks after receiving the key to our city, it's another win on a big stage for Ottawa's Gabby Dabrowski. That is just ahead. Jackie.
Thanks so much, Patricia. Not only are we going to have some cool conditions for this week, or temperatures, I should say, the conditions will also remain dry. So partly cloudy into the evening. Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud. There is a slight chance that parts of eastern Ontario could see some precipitation overnight into Wednesday. But for the most part, we're going to stick to some cloudy conditions by midweek. Now, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is 21 degrees, looking towards Chateau Laurier and Parliament Hill.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Sneha Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, the #1 Ford EV dealer in Ontario.
Tuesday on CTV Morning Live, local powerhouse singer Sherry Harding stops by to talk about her upcoming performance at Redbird Live and her new album.
Welcoming a new baby can be overwhelming. Rachel Node shares some simple, smart tips that can make life a lot easier for those new parents.
Wake up the right way with CTV Morning Live starting at 6.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's what's on CTV tonight. E-Talk, The Big Bang Theory, American Ninja Warrior, and The Rainmaker. And here's a recap of the top stories we are following right now.
If it means folks like me going to jail, then so be it. If it means our union being fined, then so be it.
Digging in, the striking Air Canada flight attendants continue picketing today, defying a back-to-work order.
I saw some smoke, and then I saw a big flame. Poof.
A massive fire at a condo development under construction in Hawkesbury destroys 2 buildings and damages homes.
We've seen an explosion of public drug use. Without supervised consumption, we now have unsupervised consumption, and it's everywhere.
New data obtained by CTV News shows crime was decreasing near the Somerset West supervised consumption site last year, despite the province saying there was a spike in crime when it announced the closure. One final look at the forecast. Another beautiful day tomorrow.
Yes, we are expecting some dry conditions and beautiful in terms of cool, because we are taking a break from that heat and humidity that we've had for the last several weeks. 13 degrees as you head out the door. The mix of sun and cloud. We're getting to a daytime high of about 23 degrees. And in the morning for Wednesday, there is a slight chance we could see some showers, but it is expected to clear for more cloudier skies. So not much in terms of sun, but again, cooler conditions. Things are going to start to warm up Thursday into Friday, where we'll average 27, 28 degrees. But the evenings are starting to get much cooler, feeling more like fall. And good news for Friday, Red Blacks game. And then we have Saturday, we have Atletico outdoors as well. So it's going to be dry. Time to enjoy the last couple of weekends of summer.
Absolutely. Looks great. Look forward to both of those events. Time now to check in and see what our news team will be working on tonight. Steph is here for the 11:30.
Yeah. Well, Patricia, the issue of gun violence isn't lost on this province. And tonight we'll have the story of an Ontario mother who wants justice for her 8-year-old son. Jave Roy's mom plans to go hard and doesn't want anyone to forget his name. He was killed over the weekend by a stray bullet while he was lying in bed. Now, this did happen in Toronto, but here in the capital, concerns have been high as well. Just last week, a shooting more or less on the doorsteps of this Bell Media building. The victim in that case will live, 8-year-old Jave. Not so lucky. We'll share that story and also continue to monitor the by-election where Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is hoping to win a seat. Join us tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
All right, we will. Thank you for that. And finally for us tonight, the same duo that captured the women's doubles title at the U.S. Open back in 2023 just picked up a big win in the event that precedes it each year, and one half of that duo is Ottawa's own Gabby Dabrowski. Yeah, there you go. Dabrowski and Rutleff with a straight sets victory over a pair from Russia and China on Saturday. So they now head to the U.S. Open with momentum on their side. And there was all kinds of emotion in this one. Gabby mentioned after the match that she missed this exact tournament last year because she was undergoing radiation after announcing her breast cancer battle. So, yeah, they now move on to the U.S. Open and will look to try to win their second doubles title there. So amazing.
Really exciting to see.
You thought I was going to fangirl any less over Gabby after meeting her, interviewing her. Not the case.
I was waiting for
We never would have placed bets on that at all. No, for sure.
No, very happy to see her continuing to have that success and may watch a match or two from the U.S. Open as well. Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.